Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be going over the new balance patch that's going to drop with the DLC. I think it's set to drop October 31st. I'm going to be reviewing it a little bit early, but just to give you guys a sneak peek as to what's coming and to get you guys prepared as to what the changes are. And honestly, there's a good amount of changes coming to all the civilizations. So it's not just the DLC civilizations that will be new. A lot of civilizations will be changed, and here are all the notes. So starting things off, we've got the general balance changes. We see that the elite and imperial skirmisher bonus attack for spearmen is improved. It goes up from 3 to 4. This is really important. I think it's a great change because in the late game, we saw halberdier doing exceptionally well against skirmisher. Why? Because the halbs don't die fast enough and so are therefore able to close the gap into the skirms. And because of the skirm's minimum range, they kind of die to halb when the halb comes up close. And so the best composition in late game was halbs and hussar once the gold runs out. And that kind of broke the rock, paper, scissors. It's supposed to be like halbs counter hussar, skirms beat halbs, and hussar beats skirm. But in imp, it just felt like halbs beats pretty much everything but halbs, and that was a bit strange. So the skirmishers will be now much more effective against spearmen, and I think that's a really good change. The same could be said for the genitor here, because elite genitor goes up from 2 to 3 as bonus damage. So yeah, same kind of fix. And then we also have the elite battle elephant base movement speed increased from 0.85 to 0.88. So a small buff to the elephant movement speed. Listen, it's not going to be good. Monks will still destroy this unit, but I'm happy they're buffing it because if you can see a little bit more of a use for this unit than right now, I think it'll be a good thing. I think elephants are a really badass unit and they should be, at least good in some scenarios. Next, we see a big change to the monk's functionality, and I'm going to say what it is and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on it because I've been very vocal about monk changes, but I don't think this one is it. So anyways, conversion attempts will now take 1 second to disrupt the current task of a villager instead of instantly inducing fleeing behavior. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that monks will no longer retain conversion cycle charges when switching between buildings and units once they've got the redemption tech. That's thing number 2. So those are the 2 changes that monks will happen. This is the developer note, and then I'll give you the Hera note. The developer note is that the monk changes are intended to fix a few exploits around monk usage. It is no longer possible for a single monk to prevent an important structure from being built by spam clicking enemy villagers to interrupt their task. Furthermore, since buildings are more resistant to conversion than units, it was possible to charge a conversion on a building and then quickly switch to a unit for an instant conversion. Switching from a building to a unit will now restart the monk's conversion process or progress, and then switching between units will still retain conversion progress as usual. So let me give you guys the Hera note on this. And so for point number 1, which is the monks disrupting a castle from being built by spam clicking, great change. This is actually a great change. I love it. I think it's a very fair way to go about monks converting vills. And one monk stopping a castle while you have mangonels shooting it is a bit annoying. That being said, forward castles are really strong, and this was one of our best defense against forward castles. So now that it's gone, I hope we can see a little bit more like increased build time on a castle, so that if they send 20 vills and drop a castle in the middle of your base, you can have at least a chance to deny it. Right now, the castle gets built way too fast, and this monk trick was the only thing that pretty much stopped the forward castle. Otherwise, you have to prepare for it and see it coming in order to react. So that is my only concern there, but overall good change. Now, point number 2, when it comes to redemption and monks switching from building to unit. Now, at first I thought this was a decent idea because that is a silly mechanic where it's like you charge the conversion for 10 seconds on a building. Usually buildings take like, let's say 12 to 15 seconds to convert, and then after 10 seconds, bam, you switch it from the building to a knight, and then you insta convert the knight within a second because the max conversion time on a unit is 10 seconds. That is a silly mechanic, and it is a little obnoxious. However, at the same time, now I feel like converting buildings becomes almost impossible because if you're sitting there converting a building, you're converting my stable. I make one light cav, I take it out of the stable, I kill your monk. I can do that every time because you can't defend yourself. So I think this is a way too big of a nerf to redemption monk pushing. Is this something we want? Should redemption monk pushing be really hard? Maybe. And if that's the case, then this is definitely hurting redemption very hard. I personally think this change should be reverted, and instead we should do these monk changes. I'm going to give you guys a few ideas. We should make minimum conversion time plus 1 second. For sure, that change has to come. The conversion time being 4 seconds minimum in game is basically 2.5 seconds in real life. That means if you react perfectly, your knight can still get converted because it's only 2.5 seconds. If you add 1 more second in game, it comes to like 3.3, 3.5 seconds. And that is a little bit more fair. You get a little bit more time to react. So that has to happen. Second thing, I think think we should increase the cost of some of the Imperial Age monk texts. I think those are the problem, to be honest. The Imperial Age monk texts are just so obnoxious. And then maybe we make redemption cost food. I think those are the 3 changes that I think would really hurt monk abuse, but wouldn't hurt a monk rush. It wouldn't kill a monk rush. And I think those are much more fair than this. I think this kind of kills the monk rush, and I think we don't want the monk rush to be completely gone. Okay, we spent a lot of time on this topic, but it is a big topic, especially since I made a video about monks being broken. I still believe they're broken. This kills only a part of monks, but monks on defense, which is the real problem, monks being on defense and being the start of a push and a fast imp, that is still full power, and that is the real problem in my opinion. So this hurts redemption pushes, which is not really the problem. It was only a problem sometimes, but it doesn't actually address the core problem, the core issue of monks, and I think that's where the devs kind of missed the note on this one. All right, next up, we've got the Celts. Now, the Celts are getting a strict buff. They're getting access to ring archer armor. This is a great change because ring archer armor for the Celts gives them an extra option against Arbalest and Imp. Right now, you have Onagers, you have Mass Woad Raider, but like, let's say those 2 options aren't enough. Let's say you're up against Hand Cannoneer, for example. What do? Skirmishers with the extra armor will really help into Hand Cannoneer, into Arbalest, and it will at least give Celts another option. If for whatever reason, if they can't get to their siege, let them at least have access to skirms that are pretty solid. So I think this is a really good change for Celts. It's not going to make them broken. It's not going to make them much better, but at least it gives them another option to play with in the late game. Next, we got Japanese with a little bit of a buff. Cavalry archers +2 attack versus archers. Pretty solid. I think it's just going to buff Japanese cavalry archers a little bit more. Maybe in some scenarios, you go cav archers into crossbows and you're pretty happy about it. It gives them a really strong late game unit now because cav archers are already really good for Japanese. Getting an extra bonus attack versus archer line is pretty solid. Next, we got the Magyar Hussar. So this is a pretty interesting change. So the Magyar Hussar cost was changed from 80 food and 10 gold to 35 food and 45 gold. And the Magyar Hussar HP increased from 70 to 75. So it's a strict buff for the unit in Castle Age. Elite Magyar Hussar train time reduced from 16 to 14, so a buff to the elite version. And now this is the interesting part. Corvinian army effect changed from Magyar Hussar cost no gold, and it's instead Magyar Hussar gold cost is replaced by additional food cost. Now this makes it so the elite Magyar Hussar or the Magyar Hussar after Corvinian army is exactly the same, but it makes it so that the Magyar Hussar in Castle Age costs a little bit of food and a little bit of gold, making it easier to afford. So this is overall a buff to the Magyar Hussar, and it's just going to give it a bit more viability in the mid game in the Castle Age without making it cost gold in Imp. In Imp, it goes from 35 food to 45 gold to 80 food, which is the cost right now. So it's a really good change. I think it's actually spot on. I think the devs nailed it with this, and I think a great change for the Magyars, and a very fair one as well. Next, we got the Persians. This is maybe where the unfair stuff comes in. Persians are receiving a massive update to their gameplay and bonuses, the devs say. Listed below is the new civilization overview, including both the new changes and legacy bonuses. The civilization bonuses are as follows now. Start the game with 50 food, 50 wood. This is the same that they've always had. Town centers and docks, 2 times hit points and work 5% faster in Dark Age, up to 20% in Imperial Age. This is new. Before, this bonus starts at Feudal Age with 10%. Now it's extended towards Dark Age with 5%, which is solid. They get 5% in Dark Age and then they get the regular bonus. This is a huge bonus, in my opinion, huge boost to the Persians. It basically lets them have an extra villa in Dark Age, and on hybrid maps it lets them also get extra fishing ships out a little bit faster, and I think it's a really good bonus. They had this a while back, it got removed. It should never have gotten removed. It actually made Persians very strong, but not broken in my opinion. Then they also got another bonus. Cavalry generate 5 gold when killing enemy military units. I think it's just kind of an overbuff. I don't think the Persians need this, but I guess it's an interesting little bonus for the cavalry. Next is the coolest bonus. They've got Parthian tactics available in Castle Age. This is so interesting because it gives the Persians an extra option, and I'm a huge fan of options, guys. An extra option in Castle Age. They don't have to go just cavalry because they don't have, very good infantry, so it's cavalry into halb, into hand cannon. Now they can actually go full CA in Castle Age with Parthian tactics, giving them extra armor, and even though their CA play in Imp is lacking Bracer, at least now you can kind of snowball in the Castle Age and maybe look for ending the game in early Imperial Age with the Cav Archers super solid. They also get the Caravanserai in Imperial Age, which is a nice buff for team games. Next, they also get another unique unit, which is the Savar, and this is basically a much better Paladin. It replaces the Paladin upgrade, and it's infinitely better than the Paladin. I made a video about it. The upgrade is cheaper. They have an extra pierce armor, an extra melee armor. They're lacking only 15 HP, but it's completely offset with the extra melee armor they got, and the extra pierce armor is huge that they get. So Savar is strictly better than the Paladin, and I made a video on it if you want to check it out. A small video, 2 minutes, just to show them in action. Next, they also get the unique tech Citadels, which gives castles receive minus 25% bonus damage, and arrows are replaced with bullets and deal +4 attack, +3 attack versus infantry, and +3 attack versus rams, which is an absolutely massive bonus bonus for the Persians. And yeah, honestly, I think the new Persians sound very, very overpowered. Also, the old tech Mahouts, elephants moving faster, is now just locked behind the elite upgrade. Elite upgrade of the war elephant makes them move faster. So you still have Mahout's elephant, now you don't have to pay for it, and now instead you have the Citadel's upgrade, which could help you on defense. So the Persians are now a much more interesting civ, and I love the changes. I just fear it's a little overpowered. But aside from that, I think the changes have been fantastic, and another props to the devs. The team bonus remained unchanged. Next, we have the first nerf of the patch, and it's a really weird one. It's the Poles, and they're going to lose access to guilds. This is not bad. It hurts their late game. It's just weird because Poles are getting their late game nerfed, but I don't think Poles are like a top civ right now. Maybe they are at lower levels. I'm not sure. I mean, here's the thing. Poles deserve to get their late game nerfed. I just feel like if you nerf the late game, you got to give them a little bit more in the early game. But the late game is kind of overpowered, so I don't mind them losing guilds. It's a small nerf anyways. Very small. And then we've got Romans with Elite Centurion Aura effect for faster attacking militia line. It reduced from 25% 33% faster attack speed to 20% faster attack speed. So Centurion Aura is getting nerfed. Again, it's weird that we're nerfing Romans when I just feel like they haven't really seen much play. Kind of awkward, but fair enough. Then we got the Saracens with camel units plus 10 HP civilization bonus, and it's been changed. The camel units plus 25% HP, and the result of this is that now in Castlage, camels will now have 145 HP instead of 130 of the old Saracens and 120 of a base camel with bloodlines. So 145 HP for a bloodline camel in Castlage for the Saracens is wild. That's an insane unit. It's an Imperial Age unit. So Saracens got a huge buff to their camels, and in Imperial Age it's still 170, except now you don't have to pay for zealotry. Elite Mamluk HP was also increased as well. Zealotry is a unique tech that's replaced with Bir Maristan, which costs 300 wood, 200 gold, and basically it says that monks will passively heal all units in a 5-tile radius, so monk healing getting a little upgrade. The new unique tech isn't great, to be honest, but the fact that you don't have to pay for zealotry anymore is kind of massive. So I think Saracens got a huge upgrade with this one, a really big buff, and probably one that they deserve. And finally, for the last change on our list, it's the Slavs. Finally, the farmers work faster civilization bonus increased from 10% to 15%. Finally, the Slavs get something that make them pull ahead of other civilizations, guys. Slavs got power crept so hard. 10% faster farms is nothing when you compare the Khmer. They don't have to drop off. It's nothing when you compare the Poles' farming economy. Everything just started passing the Slavs. And finally, the Slavs are going to be back on top, as they should be. They're a good farming civilization. That's the only thing they've got as far as eco bonus goes. And maybe the team bonus saving on a little bit of houses. But that's pretty much it. Let it be a good bonus, and I'm happy it's there for the Slavs. Slavs could probably be a pretty strong contender after this bonus. I think it's a good change. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm excited for the new patch and the new DLC, and I hope you guys are too. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care, and bye for now. Also, like, comment, subscribe. As always, peace.